welcome back. If you just joined us, you're watching Channels Television, celebrating 21 years of professional broadcasting. This is the news at 10, a reminder of our major stories tonight. Chief Justice of the Federation seeks to rid judiciary of acts of indiscipline, presents policy guidelines for judicial officers. All Progressives Congress governors meet with the president, ask him to evenly spread appointments into public offices and intensify anti-graft war. Army establishes operational base in Damaturu Bio Axis to forestall further raids by insurgents. And Cameroon officials make public appeal for blood donation to assist with treatment of 600 wounded victims from Friday's train crash. Remember, all our top stories can be found on our website, channelstv.com, and on youtube.com/channelsweb. Log on to m.channelstv.com to view us live on a mobile device. You can also download the Channels TV app for Android, iOS, and Windows phones from their respective stores. Besides the news and updates, the Channels TV app has an Eyewitness feature. We encourage you to use it to share those pictures, videos, or news of happenings around you. Just install the app, then tap and swipe to reveal the Eyewitness menu and follow the instructions.
Airtel, the smartphone network.
Let's take a look now at some of the pictures you sent into Eyewitness portal, beginning with this one from Gombe State, showing the state of a federal road in Duku area. Our Eyewitness reporters drawing the attention of the Ministry of Works to this highway for immediate action. Next is another picture from Gombe State where we see a portion of the Bochi Road that's gradually eroding. Our Eyewitness reporter attributes this to poor drainage and calls for swift action. From the federal capital city is this image of an illegal refuse dump site on the Apo Mechanic Road. Our Eyewitness reporter criticizes the act of indiscriminate dumping of refuse and encourages residents to take care of their environment. Finally, from Yenagoa, the Bayelsa state capital, is this picture showing a lineup of solar-powered street lights. Our Eyewitness reporter believes that the strength of solar should be utilized across states to generate sufficient power.
Airtel, the smartphone network.
We continue our focus on health with the leadership of the Nigerian Medical Association, the NMA, decrying the non-implementation of the National Health Act by the federal government 2 years after its passage in 2014. The president of the NMA, Professor Mike Ogirima, made the remarks at a press conference in Abuja to draw attention of the government to issues affecting the health sector. According to him, members of the NMA will stage a nationwide protest to demand implementation of the National Health Act.
This is meant to draw attention on the impact of the economic recession currently being faced by Nigerians as it affects healthcare delivery system, and also to provide solutions and suggestions for possible implementation by government, individual and corporate organizations. What are these challenges? Slow progress of universal health coverage through the National Health Insurance Scheme. Non-implementation of the National Health Act as passed into law in 2014. As part of this year's Physicians Week, the NMA and her 37 branches and affiliates have agreed to stage a walk tomorrow, next tomorrow, that is 26th of October. This is aimed at demanding for implementation of National Health Act as passed in 2014 by the federal government. It is our belief that implementation of that act will address some of the aforementioned challenges being experienced in this economic recession.
Time to take it to Abuja now, where Ibrahim Adra is standing by with more on the news at 10. Hi, Ibrahim.
Hello, good to see you, Amarachi. Now, the National Population Commission has proposed a budget of 222 billion naira to conduct a fresh national census in 2018. The chairman of the commission, Mr. Eze Duri-Homa, announced the budget proposal during an oversight visit by the Senate Committee on Population and Identity Card in Abuja. On his part, the chairman of Senate Committee on Population and Identity Card, Senator Suleiman Hunkui, observed that although 2018 is the most ideal year to conduct a census before the general elections, the president would have first to give a proclamation. Our correspondent Gloria Omezoke reports.
The conduct of census in Nigeria has been immersed in controversy, and the outcome have left many disenchanted. 10 years after, the Senate Committee pays an oversight visit to the National Population Commission as the country is due for another census. Here, the chairman, among other things, announces over 200 billion naira as budget to conduct a technology-based census using the direct data capture machine.
The census proper, that is the enumeration, which is the exercise people think or talk about as census, 120 billion. And then post-census activities, that is litigation and so on and so forth, 8-point-something billion. So that gives you from an initial sum of about 270-something billion. We were able to prune it down because we were conscious of the economic squeeze on everybody. We brought it down to 222 billion, 994 million, and so on and so forth.
The Senate chairman admits that the census budget is huge in the face of a recession, urging the commission to employ other sources of funding once the president assents.
If census is to hold 2018, there are unavoidable prerequisite arrangements that must be consummated. One of them is the key provision in the 2017 appropriation year.
The committee equally probed the application of the Commission's 4.4 billion naira 2016 budgetary allocation, as well as its incomplete permanent site 10 years after the contract was awarded.
2006, and from that
A
time,
date for the national census lies uncertain, but what is clear is its significance to a successful 2019 general election. Gloria Umezuke, Channels Television News.
Now to security matters. The Damaturu Road, which became prominent at the peak of the insurgency, is now being fortified by the Nigerian Army. The Chief of Army Staff, Lieutenant General Tukur Buratai, who approved an army operational base in the area, said the military will no longer allow a situation where some miscreants occupy territories belonging to the nation. The army base will help to sustain military operations in the troubled northeast zone of the country.
At the peak of the Boko Haram insurgents in the northeast, especially in Borno State, Damaturu, Road and other towns are major strongholds and entry points for the terrorists.
Guys,
With the return of peace and life gradually kicking back, the Nigerian Army has established an operational base to help the military in checking movement of terrorists and transportation of food and weapons to the insurgents, especially along the southern part of Yobe State and the western part of Borno State. This informs this gathering, and the Chief of Army Staff, accompanied by some high military personalities, are present to officially open the base.
Based on increasing operational activities from the base, semi-permanent structures were conceived to alleviate the troops' exposure to inclement weather. For their support, I urge them to continue to keep providing useful information to the Nigerian Army in the fight against terrorism.
The base will also ensure safety at the eastern part of Gombe as well as northwestern part of Adamawa State, as the Army Chief says more forward operation bases across the country will be established to support military operations in other parts of the country.
The road from here down to Buriali was also cleared of all improvised explosive devices. The road, which also leads to the Mark 2, was opened in April this year and is constantly being used by commuters without fear. The need to maintain offensive operation from a fortified location, conduct aggressive patrols and improve reaction times in order to commit the entire area of responsibility gave birth to the idea of establishing a forward operating base in Maritime.
The deputy governors of Yobe and Borno State are on hand to give support.
The beginning of this balance in the location where definitely provide adequate accommodation to the soldiers, also here, and the president also enhanced their security.
We have gone around and seen it. It's constructed with very good quality materials, and I believe it will stand the test of time.
Apart from controlling the movement of arms and foodstuff to the insurgents along the route, the operational base will also provide security for communities living along the road, as well as provide military surveillance to the people navigating along the Damaturu-Biu Road.
On a related matter, the military is stepping up efforts in the security of the nation's waterways as Nigeria's new offshore patrol vessel, NNS Unity, makes its maiden voyage to the country for deployment. The vessel has made a port call to South Africa's Seaman's Town after exactly a month of being launched. NNS Unity adds to the Navy's vessels to combat maritime crime along the nation's shores and the Gulf of Guinea. Our South Africa Bureau Chief was in Seaman's Town for the reception ceremony in our reports.
It's a month into her maiden voyage to Nigeria. NNS Unity has come to berth in South Africa's Seaman's Town for a flag showing. At the reception were the Flag Officer Commander, Nigerian Navy Logistics Command, Ogara, Rear Admiral Begroy Ibemu, Nigeria's Defense Attaché in South Africa, Commodore Silaranda Lassa, and other embassy officials who took a tour of the vessel.
The maritime world is known as the vessel of choice or the platform of choice for the navies because it has this unique capability of staying out at sea for extended periods, engaging in patrols, and also it's run at a relatively less cost than erstwhile ships that we used to use for such roles.
All of 95.9 meters in length, 12.2 meters in width, and 26 meters in height, the NNS Unity was launched to sea in September 2016. It took 4 years to build. The captain of the vessel tells us what it has been like so far in the voyage.
We set off 24th of September by 4 a.m. from China. After the two typhoons that delayed us in China, those are the typhoons Meranti and Malakas. It's been eventful in the sense that we had the normal challenges that is expected of a sailor. And it's been peaceful as well because while crossing some part of the oceans that we expected rough seas, we had it smooth as well. But it's been okay.
10 news.
Still ahead on the news at 10, government and captains of industry seek public-private sector collaboration towards rescuing Nigeria's economy from the current recession. To join us again.